listen, in that regard and from that vantage point, I agree with you about LeBron James being a better talent. My problem is we don't take the intangibles into consideration nearly as much as we should. And let's look at it from the analysis that you threw out there about Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. Well, Larry Bird, to me, was a better individual talent because he could shoot considerably better than Magic. He was a fabulous passer at the forward position as well. And obviously he won championships, just not as many. The reason why you love a comparison like that, Max Kellerman, is because both of them could be relied upon in the clutch to do whatever it is that they do to accentuate their greatness. Whoever they were, whatever made them great, they didn't leave that at the door when money time arrived. When we look at LeBron and Kobe, that's where I think we part ways. Because even though LeBron has matured to that point where there's no longer a question about that as where he's concerned, for a lengthy period of time in his career, it was a huge question. I have religiously stated for the first 46 minutes, I'll take LeBron James over almost anybody in the world all time, with the exception of maybe Jordan. And even that is a maybe. The problem is that when you get to that money time, that clutch, where you sit up there and everything breaks down and you grab the ball and you say, here, take me to the promised land. LeBron is not somebody that's going to be on that list most of the time in a lot of people's eyes. And nobody is going to question that Kobe would be on that list. When money time arrived and it was time to give him the ball, whether it was in the finals against Indiana, whether it was 2001 in the postseason, whether it was 2010 against Boston, or times in between, Kobe at a younger age was so sensational. LeBron had to grow into that role for a significant period of time. And that's the difference. What LeBron learned to have, Kobe had, MJ had. And here's the last point, Max. LeBron was pushed to that elevated level of play. Kobe took it. MJ took it. These are guys that you knew from the moment that moment arrived, they belonged there. LeBron was pushed, coached, nurtured, tutored into that elevated position. That is the difference.
Number one, Michael Jordan never, ever once said he's the greatest ever. No one has ever heard that out of the mouth of Michael Jordan. So, in other words, whatever his standard is, it's applicable to anything that he says, because Michael Jordan has never said, I am the greatest who ever lived, okay? So when people sit up there and say, well, Michael, if you're bringing that up, that means Bill Russell was better than you. Who knows? Michael Jordan might say, sure, okay, no problem. He's better because he's got 11 rings. Yep. That's Michael Jordan's standard. That's number one. Number two, I've said this on many occasions, and I'll say it again. LeBron James is an absolute freak of nature. He is one of the greatest we have ever seen. From a talent perspective, he's top two, may go down as number one all time, okay? I would take LeBron James all day, every day, and twice on Sundays for the first 46 minutes. But with the game on the line, it's a whole bunch of players that I would take ahead of LeBron James. And Kobe Bryant would be one of them. Last 2 minutes, game on the line, postseason action, things of that nature, I'm rolling with Kobe. And when you think about Michael Jordan and what Michael Jordan has to say, I think it's incredibly important that everybody understands the standard with which he's measuring stuff by. It's not just about the number of championships. It's about actually winning them. There's a whole bunch of cats that can contribute it, but there are very few who can close the deal. Kobe Bryant was one of those people who could close the deal. We saw it when they won their first championship, when Shaq had fouled out and Kobe Bryant had to take over and play against the Indiana Pacers and take control. What we're saying is we also look at him, he was waiting for this moment, talking about this moment, salivating for the moment, whereas LeBron had to be pushed and prodded to that point. He had to go to South Beach. He had to play with D. Wade. He had to sit up there and be lectured and tutored and counseled by a D. Wade and Pat Riley. And then after he did that, they had to convince him, it's your time. You're the best in the world. If you remember in 2012, there was an all-star game taking place, and the game was on the line. This is after, Max, you'll remember this. This is after LeBron James and the Miami Heat had lost in the finals to the Dallas Mavericks. And D-Wade and these boys are proud of them. It's your time, it's your time, it's your time. It's the all-star weekend. It's an exhibition. Nothing is on the line. LeBron James has the ball at the top of the key with Kobe guarding him. And instead of taking the shot himself, he tried to throw a pass, and it got picked off by Blake Griffin. And Melo got in his face, and Kobe got in his face, mistake. And D-Wade had gotten in his face. They're like, what are you doing? So all I'm saying is, my last point is this. All I'm saying is the level of greatness that they were willing to embrace and they were salivating for, LeBron had to be pushed towards. And if you are Michael Jordan, you take that into consideration when you think about how you rank a player.
What do you mean in terms of value? And when you say LeBron eclipses Jordan, LeBron eclipses Kobe. Eclipses Kobe. I'm sorry. What do you mean by that? What do you mean eclipses him in value? What are you talking about?
He's he's going to be higher on the all-time list. If you had to pick one or the other, you're starting a team, you're going to take LeBron. As you point out, a lot of that has to do with LeBron's superior size, which is true. He's 6'8", 250 plus. But it also has to do with the efficiency in scoring. LeBron's an incredibly efficient scorer. And also the defense, because LeBron defense improved throughout his career to the point where he could guard effectively all 5 positions. He's almost like a Dennis Rodman kind of figure at his height in terms of his defensive value. And in addition to all that, he has the passing game of a Magic or a Bird, the kind of passing game, the genius for passing that Kobe doesn't have. So I'm talking about its value, the one who brings you the most wins or the closest to a championship all by himself, the one who fits in best on the most different kinds of team, the one who's going to be ranked higher on the all-time list. Value. Jordan's one, then the question is, where does everyone else fit in? LeBron is going to end his career as the first non-big you mention after Jordan, and Kobe will fit in with Bird and Magic somewhere below that.
Well, the reason why I asked the question is because I think that while you're right, we need to understand why. There's a lack of appreciation for Kobe in this respect. Kobe played with Shaq, so because 3 of those rings came with Shaq, that's going to be held against Kobe to some degree, which almost justifies why he had this insatiable appetite to prove himself away from Shaquille O'Neal. He didn't want to pair with him for the rest of his career because he didn't want to be, identified with just him. He wanted to establish his own aura of invincibility and what have you. But the other thing also is that we don't take into account what LeBron did. LeBron didn't win a title until he joined Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. He didn't win a 3rd title until he joined Kyrie Irving. He got Kevin Love to come from Minnesota as well. And so when we pay attention to those kinds of things, as great as LeBron is, we also act too much like it's just LeBron. But LeBron was very adroit, very skilled, very smart in who he decided to join forces with. And that had a lot to do with the success that he ultimately was reaping. Now, he doesn't deserve to be excoriated for that because it's a team game and you can't win by yourself. But he went about the business. He didn't inherit anything. He put himself in a position as a free agent where he went to in Miami. He came back to a situation in Cleveland that was conducive to winning. He stayed within the Eastern Conference throughout his career because it's been considerably weaker than the West for pretty much the last decade. We've got to pay attention to all of that too, whereas Michael Jordan had Pippen and had to groom and elevate Pippen. Mr. Migraine Headache at the time before he ultimately elevated himself into being one of the 50 all-time greatest players and the 6-time champion along with Michael Jordan, because Michael Jordan could not have won without him. And in Kobe's case, you got Pau Gasol that came on board. You still had Andrew Bynum, Lamar Odom, and all of those other guys. But LeBron had his crew of individuals as well, and it proved to be very, very beneficial to him. But we don't bring that up nearly as much as we bring it up. Kobe Bryant isn't considered the best the best ever because obviously MJ and him played the same position, and we're going to think MJ first. And I get that. But it's not like you look at LeBron James because LeBron James is playing the same position and has the same responsibilities as Kobe. We look at LeBron James as the greatest small forward who ever lived, the physicality that he brings to the game, him being 6'9", 260, chiseled brick house, can handle the ball, a Magic kind of player in terms of pass first, all of this other stuff, even though he has an obligation to score. People look at him differently. One of the biggest reasons that LeBron James is compared to Michael Jordan is because LeBron James came into the NBA giving everybody indications he was coming for Jordan. Brother. So the reason why those are the reasons why those comparisons, because if you look at Kobe's game, his game mirrored MJ more than LeBron's ever did. It's just that LeBron announced to the world he was coming for MJ, and that's why everybody looked for those comparisons.
If you think of what MJ and Pippen did with Phil Jackson, which is go 6 for 6, now take just a little bit of air out of MJ, just a little bit, and stop, plug it up, right? And do this to Pippen. Turn him into super Pippen. Again, you think they're losing?
You're looking at it wrong. You know why you're looking at it wrong? Because neither Kobe nor LeBron played defense better than MJ and Pippen. Neither of them.
It would be slightly lesser defensively and even better offensively. And on the whole, a LeBron-Kobe pairing in their primes would have been even better than MJ and Pippen.
Well, again, you're wrong and you're misinformed. Why? Because you're not bringing into consideration the game that they played compared to the game that MJ and Pippen had to play. Talk about the culture, how far more physical it was back in the day. Let's see, what would MJ...
Make it even easier for Kobe and LeBron.
What would MJ and Pippen have done in this era in terms of how soft it is?
Killed it. But so Kobe,
and again, their defense is elite.
Here's the difference.
Defense is elite.
Here's the difference.
Pippen
is not on anyone's list of top 10 players who ever lived.
When the Lakers lost the championship, beat the Lakers for the championship. What happened in that series?
Who beat the
The Bulls beat the Lakers in the championship, the first finals. You remember how Pippen was picking Magic?
Hurt,
Forget all that. Pippen picked up Magic.
And so if you guarded Magic, who's usually 6'9" and looking over defenders,
you think LeBron would have guarded Magic?
No. What I'm saying to you is that, but LeBron has never been the defender Pippen is. You do know that.
But Pippen is
it's not even close.
Pippen is a much more consistent defender. I'll say this.
Not only that, he's somebody that embraces playing defense.
No doubt. I wouldn't compare LeBron over the course of a season to Pippen as a defensive player. I will say this, in terms of versatility as a defender, LeBron is more like Dennis Rodman. LeBron at his best defensively could legitimately, capably guard all 5 positions.
That's not.
LeBron at his best is an all-time great
defender. Again, that's why you shouldn't be talking basketball, because you're bringing up what he could do. I'm bringing up what he has done. There's been plenty of times. I will never question the ability of LeBron James. There's nothing he can't do. He has shown a willingness religiously throughout the years not to accept elite defensive assignments.
If Kobe and LeBron played together?
LeBron James. He'd have benefited the most. I don't think there's any question about that. When you look at LeBron James and his greatness as a player, think about the adversity that he went through to get here. But also think about the fact that for years, he didn't really have anybody staring him in the face that was the living embodiment of accountability. Somebody that would be in his face challenging him to do what the hell he was supposed to do. Max Kellerman, and if y'all could get that footage for me that I asked for from y'all this morning. Max, I want you to look at this. This is I think it's a 2012 All-Star game. LeBron has the ball, all right? He has the ball. Kobe is D'ing him up. Face to face, right there. It's him and Kobe. And he tries to throw a court pass. And Melo, D-Wade, and Kobe are all getting on LeBron. Why? And even Darren Williams, of all people.
It's the All-Star game, brother. People want to see this.
It's the All-Star game, and what they were doing is, you remember, LeBron James had yet to capture a championship. And what was the knock against him? What are you doing? Take it. It's yours. This is your time. What the hell are you doing? I picked that moment and asked them to show that video because it crystallizes my point for this particular argument. Those years where LeBron James was maturing but couldn't get himself over the hump, was devoid of the killer mentality, was susceptible to what people said and what they felt, how he has openly acknowledged how it inhibited him for years. That's why he calls losing in the finals to the Dallas Mavericks his greatest achievement, because with his show The Shot, which I said was a very good show, he's doing a good job with it. The point is, he was saying it was his greatest achievement. Why? Because when he lost, that's when his whole mentality changed. He hunkered down. Pat Riley, D-Wade, everybody, they got on him. He had to ultimately embrace who he is, but also embrace the fact that you got to step up and embrace the challenge and take what is rightfully yours. If he were playing alongside Kobe Bryant, he'd have never had to go through that for that long period of time, because Kobe would have been in his behind from day one, demanding that greatness shined. It would have shined considerably earlier, and we might be actually having valid comparisons to MJ.
If you have an opportunity to keep Bynum, and you can get D-Wade and a Bosh and Lala, and on the other hand, you're Pat Riley, and the mission is to close, and you've got LeBron James here who needs to be taught how to become a killer. Is there a better teacher than the Black Mamba? The Black Mamba in South Beach? Because you got to remember, he is in Hollywood, and he's a 5-time champion. So if he went Hollywood, it's completely justified because he's got the credentials and the cachet to validate it. But he's still focused, ain't he? Every year, LA, right down the block, and he's still focused. Could you imagine what that boy would do with LeBron James? It's something to think about, and that's all I got to say.
That's all? After you blew the rundown completely to bits? we're 7 topics down the list now.
Provocative, though, isn't it?
Oh, it's incredible. It was quite a speech you just made. Dwayne Wade and LeBron are just too good of friends. They are just too close for their own good. There's way too much of, I'm going to get you yours, and I want you to be this, and I want you to be that, to a fault. They're very, truly, genuinely close friends.
And that is why I'm going to turn you to my mode of thinking on this, kids. Because we all know one thing. Kobe don't have that problem.
It does not have that problem with anybody.
Let me tell you something right now. Let me tell you something right now. If LeBron shows up in South Beach with Kobe Bryant as a teammate, and for some reason he shrinks beneath the spotlight, he will hate Kobe.
Yeah.
Because Kobe's going to come at him. He's going to come at him. He's going to come at him.
Here's my question.
He's going to come at him.
Here's my
You're a
concern
grown
about
man.
your deal. And I like your deal because it could be one of those classic good trades for both teams.
It helps both teams.
Yeah, but here's my problem. You say Kobe can close, but is his window closed?
No.
Is it closed?
Absolutely
Well, I don't know.
You answer that.
I'm scared about it. I don't know.
He looked pretty good health-wise.
Kobe's got, let me tell you something right now. Kobe on his own
has a legit 2 years left in him at this level. But with LeBron, you can double that.
All right, that's fair.
Because
that's
it's
fair.
LeBron.
But don't bring me that Kobe will teach him the unteachable, because you cannot learn the clutch gene. I've said it a million times. You just can't. LeBron will be he'll go chosen one to frozen one. It would be up to Kobe to do what Dwayne Wade has not been able to do so far.
I'm going to say this to you. Completely different position. Doesn't even equate. But when an accident that Andrew Bynum elevated this year, okay? Yeah. I mean, when Kobe, you got somebody that can get it done.
Okay.
That's in your face about what you need to do. Jordan with Pippen. Pippen, what was he when he first came into the league?
Thank you. I'm just saying he's not a top 50 player.
He had the migraine headache.
He's not a top 50 player.
He had the migraine headache in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals in 1987.
Finally.
When Jordan's on a bus and his late father, God rest his soul, is busy hugging his son, and Jordan is crying, talking about when we going to get over the hump, when we going to get over the hump. And Scottie Pippen had let him down. And all of a sudden they came back and they started steamrolling over everybody. Why? Because Jordan elevated Pippen. It can be done. It can be done. It can be done.
You realize what you just admitted.
It doesn't matter.
Scottie Pippen is not a top 50 player. Thank you.
Just because Jordan elevated.
I don't think he said
yes, he did.
No, I didn't. Just because Jordan elevated Pippen doesn't mean Pippen's not there. He still got there.
No,
He's the best player in the NBA.
Kobe Bryant.
Better than you.
I would have to say right now. He's a really, really good player. Individually, he has some of the best skills that the NBA has ever seen in history. And he's shown year after year after year why he continues to be one of the best players in our league. I'm getting better.
Kobe Bryant, and one guy's certainly envious of the way Bryant's played lately, LeBron James.
I scratch my head every time I hear the name Kobe Bryant right now, and I try to get a dictionary and try to find a word that what he's doing right now, and I'm just lost for words. I mean, he's amazing. I've been quoted saying that he's definitely the best player in our league. To me, in my eyes, the best scorer in our league, and it's unbelievable. I don't know if it's not another guy in this league that can accomplish some of the things that he's doing right now.
Well, in Cleveland this past week. So let me ask both of you. Kobe, you start. Tell me how you see LeBron's game developing after just going up against him this week.
I mean, he's an incredible player. I think, his size and, he's meshed with his quickness and his leaping ability, his passing ability, his shooting ability. I think he's a tremendous all-around player.
LeBron, how's Kobe doing these days?
Well, like I've been quoted in the past, and I will continue to be quoted, I think he's the best player in our league right now. What he's able to do offensively and defensively is, it's unbelievable. And I look up to a guy like Kobe Bryant just because of what he's able to do every night he goes out on the basketball court. So once again, I'm quoted again saying that Kobe Bryant is the best player in our league.
You will know when you win in that one-on-one with LeBron.
That's what I think. One-on-one is that's easy for me. That's just like playing one-on-one is that's how I grew up playing. That's like my thing. LeBron is more like a Magic Johnson would say. He's a great passer. He plays all-around game. At the core of me, I'm a one-on-one player. I do that in my sleep.
The mission is to close, and you've got LeBron James here who needs to be taught how to become a killer. Is there a better teacher than the Black Mamba? The Black Mamba in South Beach? Because you got to remember, he is in Hollywood, and he's a 5-time champion. So if he went Hollywood, it's completely justified because he's got the credentials and the cachet to validate it. But he's still focused, ain't he? Every year, LA, right down the block, and he's still focused. Could you imagine what that boy would do with LeBron James? It's something to think about, and that's all I got to say.
That's all? After you blew the rundown completely to bits? Well, we're 7 topics down the list now.
Provocative, though, isn't it?
Oh, it's incredible. It was quite what we've seen now. Period. End of story. LeBron James was made for the regular season. He's a regular season dynamo. He's made for our Sports Center plays of the night because he's always #1 in the regular season. But come postseason time, he's the most overrated, overhyped superstar in my history in this business. Seriously. That's my bottom line to this discussion. Shannon Sharp, I know how much you love you some LeBron James. You already have him on your Mount Rushmore. In fact, sometimes you make the case that he's the greatest player ever, but then you sort of catch yourself and pull it back maybe one notch.
I might not catch myself this time.
You might not, because I might push you right over the edge with what I'm about to say.
Okay.
What has always driven me the craziest about LeBron James is many people, including you, elevate him into at least the top 5 all time, yet he remains, going into his 14th year, by his standards, a lousy outside shooter and an even worse free throw shooter. And I don't get it because I have heard this theme for off-season after off-season after off-season. And this is not LeBron hate. I'm stating facts here. LeBron always says, I will improve. I'll work on my free throw shooting. I'll work on my three-point shooting. And the worst happens the year after that. So he made his first one last night, so now he's off to the preseason races, and maybe he's going to improve his three-point shot. But I'm going to remind you, Michael Jordan couldn't shoot a lick when he came into this league out of North Carolina, and he taught himself what became a deadly three-point shot. Magic Johnson couldn't shoot a lick. He had no jump shot when he came into the National Basketball Association. He probably never did have a jump shot, even when he was a pro, right? It was a set shot. But he taught himself a dependable, clutch three-point shot that over time worked. And both of them were 85% free throw shooters, both regular season and post, right in that area. And LeBron remains that 74% free throw shooter that is so beneath the dignity of how great he is. And I'm going to say it again, he just keeps taking too many three-point shots for the good of his team. How has he survived that? How has he lived to tell about that? How does he have the 3 rings that he has? He plays in the Eastern Conference. If he had played in the West over all these years, the dreaded West, I don't think he could have gotten away with missing so many three-point shots. Because I'm going to remind you, let's just look at the biggest picture first. In his postseason history, for any player who's taken at least 700 postseason threes, LeBron is the all-time worst postseason three-point shooter. I'm going to say it again, the all-time worst postseason three-point shooter at 32%. He has missed 608 threes in playoff games. That's a lot of empty trips for his basketball team, but they have survived and lived to tell and gotten to a lot of finals because they're coming through the easier path, which is in the East. So what happened 2 years ago in the postseason? LeBron James shot 23%, which is the all-time worst of the 75 who have taken that many, the minimum shots required. 23%. Yet LeBron had his team, as you remember, I'm going back 2 finals ago, the first one against Golden State, they're up 2-1. LeBron is on the threshold of his greatest achievement as a basketball player, right? If he pulls that one off, no Kyrie, no Kevin Love, wow. I mean, even me, the hater, boy, I would stand up and applaud that.
Find a reason.
Okay, but I didn't find a reason because he gave me a reason. He handed it to me on silver platters because game 4 in LeBron's house, they're up 2-1. And he didn't take a lot of threes in that game. He's just 1 for 4. But he's 7 for 22 from the field, took too many outside shots. He's just never really improved as an outside shooter. And then we fast forward to game 6 that year, where they had a chance back in his house to at least force a game 7. You never know what might happen back in Golden State, as we saw this year. And LeBron goes 2 for 10 from 3. It's inevitable that he's going to have those kind of games a lot more than his occasional rare hot streaks where he'll just go crazy making three-point shots. And then what happened last year, the regular season, after he dedicated his offseason to improving his three-point shot, he shot 30.9%. Last regular season, which was the worst he shot since his rookie year. Did he improve? No, he didn't. Did he improve his free throw shooting? No, he didn't. He's still a liability when it comes to the postseason, especially from the three-point line, but also from the free throw line. And he should be better than that. Do you know how many points he's left on the table by missing free throws? I mean, do I need to remind you, Larry Bird was almost a 90% free throw shooter?
You can talk as long as you want to try to make me forget my points, but I got them written down here, so you take as long as you need, and when you're done, you just let me know, and I'm just going to sit on back here. Hey, don't worry about me. You take as much time as you need.
I got to tell you.
You're like 9 minutes, but I got my numbers right here because I knew this was going to happen.
I got to tell you.
I knew you would do this, and I came prepared for you today. So go ahead, take as much time as you need, Joey. Joey, will you buzz me when he's ready? Okay.
I talked too long, Joy, and I apologize for that, to the point that I just made myself feel sorry for LeBron James because I've piled on too much, and I have a lot more. I could just throw number after number at you, and it would just crush whatever weak, meager argument you're going to throw back at me.
Bron, I got you today, bro. I got you today, bro.
Talking to him?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
wait,
yeah.
there's a rare dunk from LeBron.
To what you have to say, because what you've been saying over the last couple of years is proven once again to be true. LeBron James will not play for an NBA title this year. Whether or not he will in the future, we don't know. But let's get to our list. He almost had a quadruple double, which isn't a good thing because the turnovers were there, but he also, the points, rebounds, and assists were there as well. Grade his performance, so overall grade for LeBron James in Game 6. What is it, Skip?
I'm going to give LeBron a break today because he did have a triple-double, including 19 rebounds. So I'm going to give him a D-, and that's D as in dog minus.
But it is a break. I thought for sure you had him for an F-.
The stat of the night, as you said in your setup, was that he did almost have a quadruple-double. In a do-or-die game on the road, a game that people had favored them to win from the start of the playoffs, LeBron James had 9 turnovers, and what shocked me the most was that at least 6 of them were shockingly unforced errors. They had nothing to do with defensive pressure, and they just took the heart out of his Cavaliers, I thought, because I saw a Prince James that once again was crumbling under the pressure and the expectations to be King James. And I want to point out, Jay and Rob, that the Cavs cut it to 4 with 8:37 left. And that was because he made a couple of threes. Now that broke an 0 for 10 three-point string for LeBron, and the second one was about as awkward looking a three-point shot as I've ever witnessed, but it did go in. And all of a sudden, Rondo is feeling the heat from LeBron James and misses 2 free throws.
Absolutely.
And LeBron comes right down and turns it over for the 8th time again and crushes the momentum, and it swings the other way, and eventually Pierce hits the three-pointer, and it's over. In the last 8 minutes of that game, LeBron James, the 2-time MVP, took 3 shots total. He ran from the ball way too much. One of the shots he made, which was an uncontested dunk. And yet, in the last 2 minutes, Rob Parker, I saw LeBron James give up. And in turn, his team gave up.
The whole team did,
They all just said, okay, if you're giving up, we'll stop. We won't foul. And this was in a way that I could never have imagined a Michael Jordan or a Larry Bird or a Magic Johnson or even a Reggie Miller giving up with the game still a little bit in the balance.
Because,
any winner. Anybody.
Because you're right, Skip, from that standpoint. I have him as a C- because I thought the turnovers were just crushing. You know, I understand the other points, the rebounds, that's all
The
fine.
shooting percentage was 8 for 21, which was actually the same percentage the team shot, but you've got to shoot better than 8 for 21.
But you can't be so sloppy with the ball. And I think you're right. There was a definite giving up at the end where the Celtics had missed some free throws. You get them to miss 2 or 3 free throws in a row, you knock down a couple
Especially
of threes.
with Rondo handling the ball.
There's a chance that you're still in the game.
Absolutely.
I was stunned that they just said, and you're right, but they were signaled by LeBron James, who at the very end, look at where he was. He wasn't touching the ball. He was pushed all the way out. I just thought to myself, he's not engaged at all.
Right.
And
the
that
final
was the
minutes, it was
problem.
each time he held the ball, the first thing he thought to do was to get rid of it. Like he
Hot
wanted
potato. It was a game of
I
hot
think you hit the
potato.
nail on the head. He raised the white flag first, and you could see it. You could see it when they stopped fouling. The whole team put the white flag up. It was something. I think everybody was stunned as they watched that. All right, how much damage did LeBron James do to his reputation with this series of basketball?
Look, obviously, for me, as you well know, all too well, it just confirmed everything I've been saying about him for 3 or 4 years on this show, and so much of it I've been criticized for because I've been unfair and over the top when I talk about LeBron James. And so, Jay, just let me say, for the record right now, I'm offended when people dismiss me as a hater. I don't like that term when it comes to LeBron. If you want to use it in the big picture, that's fine.
And it's used towards you a lot, okay, when it comes to LeBron James and others too.
As God is my witness, I don't hate LeBron. I don't know him well, you know him better than I do, but I get the feeling he's really a good guy, nice guy. Maybe he's too nice of a guy. But please don't kill the messenger, because all I ever do, and have tried to do from the start with LeBron James, is just watch closely and tell the truth about what I see. And truth is, from the start, I saw Batman talent, supreme talent, the biggest talent I've ever seen in the NBA. But the intangibles are much closer to Robin. He's Robin more than he's Batman. He's Pippen more than he's Jordan.
I think that's a legitimately fair point. If I may speak for those who throw the arrows at you when it comes to haters, answer this, because I think this is something that a lot of folks that listen have a problem with. We understand that there are shortcomings in the game. It's obvious. If you watch him as closely as you have, they are there. But the D- is to automatically dismiss a line, Skip, 27 points, 19 rebounds, and 10 assists. Now, yes, the turnovers are inexcusable, and the shooting percentage was pathetic, but a D- implies that he is the worst student in the class. That's where I think those that come at you with that hater line, I think that's the problem that they may have.
We're back to Michael Jordan. I feel like he begged this comparison, because he did choose number 23, and he's going to change to 6 next year, but he did steal the powder throwing routine, and I thought he shamed the number 23 the last 2 games. And that's my legacy for him right now, because that's all I have to go on. But
well, you have other games.
I know, but he was lifeless in those last 2 games.
That's fair.
To the point I'm saying, he's the fake MJ. He's the 2-time MVP with 2 times the best regular season team by far, to me, and the prohibitive favorite going into the playoffs. And twice now I've gone, okay, I'm going Orlando in 6 last year over Prince James.
You got them both.
And then I'm going Boston in 6, because he can't stand up to the pressure. The higher the expectations, the worse he performs.
Right. Now this is, you talk about damaging his reputation, and I think he did damage it, especially the Game 5 was even more, where people just really lost their minds on what he was doing and couldn't put a finger on it.
A lot of head scratching to the disconnect.
To the disconnect,
wasn't there.
Totally. I think today, people should appreciate Michael Jordan more than ever before, because, and I'm not saying it's LeBron's fault, because people always want to make a comparison, totally, Skip, to Michael Jordan. And when you look and now start to compare the notes, how hard it is to win and what it takes other than just pure basketball talent, which we know LeBron has, it tells you about that gene you always talk about that Michael has, that you got to question now whether or not LeBron really has it.
I think those questions are fair.
And I think this is what I got. Just 2 minutes ago, I'm in the cafeteria. Young 20-year-old black guy who is a LeBron fan, and those are all the people who you hear from who are all on LeBron's the greatest, said today for the first time, you know what? I think I'm going to be off this bandwagon. He is not Michael Jordan. And I think people are going to finally buy into what you've been saying for a long time.
Let me bring something up quickly, because you have always made the contention that it was LeBron who welcomed that upon himself. Truth be told, he was the chosen one, as dubbed by Sports Illustrated. The mass media, Skip, from the time this kid was 15 years old, was saying, as we so unfairly and often do, here he is, the next one.
I don't believe that LeBron James discouraged those.
No, he didn't discourage it, but at 16 and 17 and 18-year-old, do you know how to do that?
Okay, what we've seen now, period, end of story. LeBron James was made for the regular season. He's a regular season dynamo. He's made for our Sports Center plays of the night because he's always number one in the regular season. But come postseason time, he's the most overrated, overhyped superstar in my history in this business. Seriously. That's my bottom line to this discussion.
That's a very fair, I would say that's fair. I would say that's fair.
He was at the Ohio State-Duke game last night, played in Columbus, Ohio, and to not many surprise, he was booed by the fans there to watch the game. He was there with Dwayne Wade. Later, the two teamed up to throw T-shirts out, PR move. I don't know if it worked. Can LeBron James ever regain his popularity? He took a big hit with the decision.
Sure he can. If he exercises the opt-out clause in 2 years and goes back to Cleveland. Sure, he can do it then. But outside of that, no. And what LeBron James needs to do is develop some alligator skin. Stop trying to be loved, okay? Because that's really what this is about. Look, man, they don't like you in Ohio. It's because you turned your back on the city. Now, I don't have a problem with you doing it. To me, Cleveland, South Beach, the choice is simple. I'm not hating on that at all. You could have handled it better, but clearly, you made the right decision for you, and that's cool. But if you're going to wear the black hat, then wear the black hat. Skip Bayless, on many, many occasions, has brought up the name Kobe Bryant. You want me to tell you the number one reason why Kobe Bryant, they boo him in every arena, but he's cheered in every arena as well? Do you know why that is,
Tell
Jay?
us why.
It ain't just because his skills. It's because he could give 2 cents about what you think. He is coming to take you out. Whoever it is that you put in front of him, Kobe is on a mission to steamroll over you. He don't care whether you cheer for him. He don't care if you shake his hand. He don't care if you don't ask for autographs or pictures or whatever. If the cause of your hatred has something to do with basketball, he could care less. And LeBron James has to
feed off your booze.
He'll feed off
you actually have
absolutely.
I feel sorry for LeBron James, and I'm being sincere about this.
Why?
He doesn't want to be a villain. He does not want to embrace the hate, as you say. He's not a mentally tough kid, and he's still a kid at heart. He's almost childlike to me. He's not thick-skinned. He's thin-skinned. He wants so badly to be loved, and he can't be loved. He does the wrong thing at the wrong time. He can't stand up to the pressure in the fourth quarter of the NBA Finals. He turns into the frozen one, and it's predictable to me. And then it's pathetic. It's sad to me that he goes to the Buckeye game and he sits in the front row in his Buckeye colors, and they boo him off the court when he walks in. And then he has to stick around after the game, and he and D-Wade got to throw T-shirts to the crowd. Love me not. Love me not. Right?
Do you think if he had it to do all over again, he would either A, do it differently, go to Miami,
do it differently.
under a much different circumstance, or stay in Cleveland?
You know what? If he had it to do over again, I think he'd stay in Cleveland. I think this has crushed him. It's not a happy place for him anymore.
You think he would have done it
I think he would have done it differently, but I ain't going to think that he would have passed up on South Beach. I'm just not believing that. But I will say this, again, he's got to get harder. Not only that, that's what it's going to require for him to win the world championship. Because you have to understand, you got to have that edge. Listen, instead of trying to act like you a champion, why don't you imitate champions? Why don't you steal something from them when it counts most? You know what? Study
capable.
Kobe. Yes, he is, and that's why I'm staying on him. That's why I'm not letting him. It's not because I don't believe in him. It's because I do believe in him. He is too supremely talented. He may be the best talent in the world. You know what? You just got to get that heart, man. Stop walking around like the Tin Man syndrome. I mean, what is wrong with you?
Can't buy one.
Come on, man. He got it in him. Just peel it out. Suck it up.
You can't go.
Wear the black hat.
You can't go see the wizard.
Wear the black hat.
There's no wizard.
Wear the black hat.
Is there a wizard, Jay?
Wear the black hat.
There's no wizard.
Wear the black
I'm
hat.
with you. I think you're born with that killer instinct.
Come on, man.
You're not.
You got to come with it. And you know what? If he doesn't have it, he won't win a title. Or if they do win a title, it'll be because of D-Wade and
Thank you.
And by the way, LeBron James, let me say this one last thing in front of this camera because this is very, very important. It is not enough for you to win the championship, riding Dwayne Wade's coattails. If he's the MVP of the NBA Finals and you show up smaller than Mini-Me like you did for 4 straight fourth quarters of the NBA Finals, it still won't get by us. You can walk around with that ring and think you got something all you want to. You had damn well better be the reason the Miami Heat win this title. I'm talking, he's got to show up. He's got to make amends for not showing up in that NBA Finals last year. You got to get it done. I don't care what you do between now and May. I don't care what you do the first week of June since the Finals has been moved back for a week. You got to be the reason that the Miami Heat win the title. If you ain't, I don't want to hear from you, and nobody else should either. You got to get it done.
You sound like Stephen.
You got to get it done.
You sound like Stephen.
No, that's not good. Skip says he won't. Skip says he won't and he can't. I'm saying he can. He just hasn't done it. Get it done.
LeBron James, you should thank God for Dwayne Wade.
Put up. Dwayne Wade just 8 points, a new career playoff low for him. The Mavs use a 21-9 run over the last 10-plus minutes of the game to win this and even up the series. LeBron, again, just 8 points. How do you explain this?
Rob, last night we saw the same LeBron James who went into a trance and crumbled under pressure in Game 5 last year against Boston, even in the second half of Game 6. This was the equivalent to me of an NBA panic attack, going blind under the pressure. 0 for 1 in the fourth quarter with 2 killer turnovers. Are you kidding me? On the NBA's biggest stage, in LeBron James' biggest moment, once again, he was exposed for how few superstar intangibles he has. Most talented player in the NBA, but no killer instinct, no rising to the biggest occasions. I still say the reason he chose to go to Miami was so Dwayne Wade could win him a ring or 3 or 4. And up 9 with 10 minutes to go, it sure looked like Dwayne Wade was taking LeBron on his first championship ride. So I'm not going to criticize LeBron for not scoring in this game because I don't expect him to score big in a game like this. Yeah, he got nervous-handed again, started bricking shots. He was even missing layups in the first half. What shocked me was that LeBron James went comatose on defense. After Jason Terry had called him out the day before, he went deadheaded on defense in the fourth quarter and let Jason Terry get loose for 8 points that should have been maybe 10 or 12 or 14 points in the fourth quarter. And finally, I don't mind, again, that LeBron doesn't shoot, but I do mind that as the point guard of this team, he quit creating shots in the fourth quarter. Not one time did he get in the lane and create an easier shot for a Dwayne Wade who was getting double and triple teamed the whole fourth quarter.
Skip, this disappearing act is more inexcusable than last year, and I'm going to tell you why. You're on the precipice of winning a title, up 3-1, right? I mean, it's a big game. LeBron, before the game, we saw the video. We should be playing like our backs are against the wall, even though we're up 2-1. Remember, he told everybody? And yet, in the fourth quarter especially, it was like a Where's Waldo. I didn't even know he was in the game. I'm looking for him, and you're right. It wasn't just, I think people can live with having a bad night, shooting, playing, making some mistakes, doing things, but he just was disengaged. How can you be disengaged in the biggest game to put your foot on the Dallas Mavericks' neck and go up 3-1, not to be engaged?
Is it possible that his early struggle is what disengaged him? You know, once you get off to that bad start, because I think a lot of people out there will say he had a bad game, worst time to have a bad game, but he had it. Is it possible that then, more so than the other nervousness of a playoff?
I'm not blaming him for shooting or not shooting in the fourth quarter. I don't care about that. But he did early on. He drove for what was going to be a layup, and at the last second, he airballed it.
Right.
And it's like, okay, so you're having a bad night, so quit shooting. That's fine with me.
And your other point about the defense, let's be honest. Jason Terry had open looks.
Yeah.
Where was LeBron? He had open looks. He could have knocked down, like I said, another six or 8 points.
And as I said yesterday, I said this. It doesn't take the clutch gene to play great shutdown defense. So at least if you're having a bad night, you can shut down the 6'2" guy that you're guarding in the fourth quarter. Are you kidding me? It got so bad that even on the last play of the game, Mike Miller had an open quick pass to LeBron in the corner for an open 3. And Mike Miller said, no, I'm going over here. Because they just said.
The tweet heard round the world. LeBron tweeting yesterday to John Clayton. He wanted to know when was the deadline for NFL teams to sign free agents. And man, did that cause a stir. Stephen A., you had a particular problem with it. Go.
Well, he came out and he acknowledged later on that he was joking, if I hear correctly. My whole point with LeBron James is that he just needs to be quiet. The NBA had just canceled the first 2 weeks of the season. People, over in excess of $200 million is being lost. People losing their jobs and things of that nature. And here you are joking as usual. I have no problem with them tweeting because players tweet all the time. That's not the issue. It's it's the fact that he was joking, and it was the timing of his joke that I have a problem with. You need to focus, okay, on getting a deal done getting a collective bargaining agreement reached so you can get back on the court and make up to millions upon millions of fans who watched you wet the bed in the fourth quarter. That's what you need to be doing. I don't want to hear anything about football. I don't want to hear anything about anything else. I want to hear about their sneakers. I have no problem with Carmelo Anthony, his sneakers, but they got to win too. And Amari Stoudemire being up here yesterday with his tight suit on and all that. I have no problem with that either. I got no problem with none of that. But LeBron James, it is time. And the reason that I say it's time is because he's the one with the tattoo, the chosen one. He's the one with the King James. I want to hear stuff. He's a great guy, and he's got to deal with a lot of stuff. And we, bottom line is he's a great person. Okay, and we shouldn't even be focused on anything but his game. But his game has come up short time and time again. And then one other thing that I want to say, Skip, before I leave this to you, and I'm dead serious about this. There's something about LeBron James that's really starting to alarm me. You got titles, King James, chosen one. None of the great guys, they shun all of that until they won a championship. It's like he wants to be crowned with no rings. You don't get to do that. You got to get it done. And I've been holding off on it because I disagreed with Skip totally. But to lose in the finals the way that he did, and then to come out here with the smile on your face like that, the world is just beautiful. I don't understand it. Champions don't do that. They just don't. That's what I wanted to say.
Sounds familiar.
Why are you so hard on this poor man?
That is funny coming from you. That is hysterical. Oh my God. You of all people.
Do you have something personal against this man?
You know what?
That's all I've ever heard for 5 years.
Listen, man. Listen, Skip. It's got me to the point. I never dreamed that I would see LeBron James not show up in the fourth quarter the way he did for 4 straight games in the NBA Finals. But then to come out and to say what he said in the aftermath of that press conference, people are just gonna go back to their regular old lives, and to walk around all summer long, city to city, state to state, wherever he is, big fat smile on his face, like it's no big deal that we lost and I embarrassed myself in the NBA Finals. It's no big deal. I can't take it no more. Enough.
I'm shocked.
Enough.
I'm shocked.
Enough.
Stephen A.
You got to get it done.
Stephen A.
Oh, don't say that. Oh my God.
Stephen A. It is shocking because you've come a lot closer to where Skip is on this topic.
Listen, I have because I always disagree with him, but now LeBron James has given substance and credence to the argument that Skip Bayless was making about him. Who defended him all of these years?
You have.
It's too much, man. It's just too much.
Allow me to psychoanalyze my friend Stephen A.
Go ahead, please.
Because I believe I know you better than you know yourself.
Oh, God.
A lot of this is coming from a place of, how dare you guys take my NBA away from me? You're in mourning. You said he should have been in mourning. We should be in. You're in mourning because you love this game.
Yes, I do.
This has been your life, your lifeblood. It's what you want to talk about. Not that you don't want to talk about the NFL and baseball and whatever else, but this is what you love.
You're right.
National Basketball Association. And for the first time in a long time, it has been pulled right out from under you when it's time to go. This is the time where we should be nearing the start of a season here, and it's looking farther and farther away, and it is killing you. So you want him to shut up because this is dire straits time. You want him at the negotiating table, not at the
Is he
keyboard.
onto something there? It makes sense.
No. Skip is completely right. That's not all there is to it, but every word that he just said is 100% correct. I absolutely do feel that way. But the other issue, like I talked to before, is I've spoken to champions. I've spoken to Hall of Famers throughout my career.
I agree
and they talk about the price that they paid in order to win, to be crowned champions. And this guy is walking around like he won the title. It bothers me. Enough. You got to get it done. Period. No more excuses. No more. I don't care about what products you're selling. I don't care about what you do through November, through May, assuming there's going to be a game. I care about what you're going to do in terms of putting rings on your finger so Skip Bayless, myself, and everybody else can shut up. It is time. I'm tired of this man being celebrated. For what? We know you're great. How about winning? Win for once.
Just win. Yeah.
Just win, baby.
Welcome
just
to the
win.
dark side. You have
Al Davis, just win.
Yeah.
That's it. Enough.
Enough said.
I have to say, victory, Skip Bayless. You have changed Stephen A's mind on something I never thought.
LeBron changed my mind.
He's been saying this for years, Stephen A, and you debated him on it.
And always fought for LeBron. But now he walks around like he's won something.
All right.
You haven't.
Look, 90 seconds, and I know it's just fun.
Yep.
We've seen other guys go from basketball to football, and none of them were the freaks in basketball that this guy is. He was All-State in the state of Ohio in high school, I know. Could he play in the NFL?
Easily. Without question. This guy's a freak of nature. That's one of the reasons he annoys me so much now.
He can do it all. He's one of the greatest athletes we have ever seen. He is a freak of nature. He is a locomotive. He is an unstoppable presence. I don't know what position he
But
can play.
that heart of a champion you say he lacks, he needs more of that in football.
He unquestionably lacks the heart of a
He needs
champion.
more of that heart though in
Unquestionably.
football.
That's true, but there's a lot of guys that play on the level, but they don't show up in big moments. But they
LeBron James will want no part of the contact required to play in the National Football League. I don't believe he's mentally or physically tough enough to be a star. To be a star.
He's physically tough enough. Yes,
I don't think he would be able to take it
He
on
would
a
want
Sunday.
no part of the contact in a high school practice.
I want to know, best player in the NBA right now, Kobe or LeBron? You want to give Chris the first up?
Yeah.
All right, Chris, it's all yours.
Right now, it's LeBron James. Let me say this. If they were both retired today, Kobe would go down as the greatest player. He's a top 10 player all time. He's tremendous, and this is no slight on him. But right now, LeBron James is the better player. Almost gave it to Kobe because of his killer instinct, playing through a broken finger. He's amazing in that regard, his desire, his will to win. But when I really look closely at it, I have to give it to LeBron James. He's the more efficient scorer, 50% shooting from the field. He's the better passer, 7 assists a game, the better rebounder, 8 assists a game. And this is going to kill Skip, but it's become true. He's the far better three-point shooter right now. He's shooting 36% from three-point range. Kobe is shooting 27% from range. I give Kobe the slight edge defensively, but overall it's LeBron. And this was the real killer for me in this debate. I switched the guys. Put Kobe on the Cavaliers, put LeBron on the Lakers. The Cavaliers are, a playoff team in the weak Eastern Conference, but no way they're a contender to win the East. Put LeBron in LA, they're unbeatable. They probably win 75 games because Kobe is playing with one of the best post players, probably the best offensive post player in the league in Pau Gasol. The second best center in the league now that Yao Ming's hurt in Andrew Bynum. The best perimeter defender in the league in Ron Artest. That's not to mention Lamar Odom. And the best coach of all time in Phil Jackson. His supporting cast is so much better that LeBron still has the Cavaliers on the same level. LeBron James is better, period.
Chris, I'm going to be quick here because I know you got to go pick up LeBron's dry cleaning for him.
Wow. Right after you pick up Michael Jordan.
Touche. I'll pick up Michael Jordan's any day, even over Kobe's. Chris, I'm going to give you bigger, stronger, faster. I am not going to give you better because I got 4 rings to your no rings. When it is time to know how to win a big game, a playoff game, my guy Kobe knows how. He demonstrated that last year. Your guy has yet to demonstrate he can do anything of the kind. I still don't trust him in the last second of any game with the ball in his hands because I don't know if he's going to make the right decision. I don't know if he's going to shoot too many outside shots, which he consistently does. He has improved his shooting. I will give you that. But at the end of games, when it's time for him to barrel to the basket and attack the basket the way nobody else in basketball can, Chris, you know and I know, he won't do it. He's afraid to do it. I don't know if he's going to make the free throws. I know Kobe's going to make the right decision, the right shot, that he's going to lead his team to victory. And to me, LeBron still just leads the league in showboating.
All right, it's time for Rob to weigh. Rob, we'll let you vote. Who wins? Who wins?
And the winner is...
Thank you.
Come on.
It's Skip Bayless. Chris Broussard. I'm just not... Chris is my man, but Chris
I made the better argument. Come on, you know I made the better argument.
You made a good argument, but it's just
Skip's
not...
argument was bad. You just think Kobe's better, that's all. Skip had no argument.
I think his argument is that 4 championship rings and knowing how to win. Last year, LeBron won all the big games until it came down to the championship.
The key word might be the right now part of it.
Kobe Bryant had said when he announced he was going from high school to the NBA.
No, I have decided to skip college and take my talent to the NBA.
In this fall, man, this is very tough. In this fall, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach and join the Miami Heat.
Miami Heat.
Now view what Will Chamberlain was able to do. A 100-point game in that entire 62 season that he had when he averaged, it seems incredible now to think he averaged 50 points.
Yeah, 25 rebounds. I mean, that's amazing. It's amazing.
Times were different. It was a different
game. It was a different game still. 50 points, 25 rebounds. It's 50 points and 25 rebounds. It's a credit to what a physical specimen he was and how talented he was.
Can you give me your all-time starting 5?
Oh, all time?
All time.
Magic at the point. MJ at the 2. Larry Bird at the 3. Bill Russell at the 4. This is tough. Will at the 5. And I'm struggling because Kareem and Will, I mean, they're neck and neck. So,
are you 6 man?
No, dude, I'm nowhere near that stuff, man. You still got Jerry West, you still got Oscar.